I'm going to start. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم Mu'minin and Mu'minat, Assalamu alaikum. Today, April 30th, 2021, at Al Fatma Islamic Center, we are starting our program. And for this program, you already know we have Sayyid Moustafa al-Qazwini with us for this 6-day program series. We will start our program with the recitation of the Holy Quran, followed by his speech. I would request Brother Muhammad Amiri for the recitation of the Quran. Brother Muhammad Amiri.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم والعن أعداءهم من الجن والإنس من الأولين والآخرين إلى قيام يوم الدين وعذبهم عذابا يستغيث منه أهل النار. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبح اسم ربك الأعلى الذي خلق فسوى والذي قدر فهدى والذي أخرج المرعى فجعله غثاء أحوى سنقرئك فلا تنسى إلا ما شاء الله إنه يعلم الجهر وما يخفى ونيسرك لليسرى فذكر إن نفعت الذكرى سيذكر من يخشى ويتجنبها الأشقى الذي يصلى النار الكبرى ثم لا يموت فيها ولا يحيا قد أفلح من تزكى وذكر اسم ربه فصلى بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى إن هذا لفي الصحف الأولى صحف إبراهيم وموسى. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ألم تر كيف فعل ربك بأصحاب الفيل ألم يجعل كيدهم في تضليل وأرسل عليهم طيرا أبابيل ترميهم بحجارة من سجيل فجعلهم كعصف مأكول. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. صدق الله العلي العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وعجل فرجهم والعن أعداءهم.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. Jazakallah, Brother Muhammad Amiri. Mu'min and Mu'minat, Dr. Sayyid Moustafa al-Qazwini is here with us. And without further delay, I would like to invite him for his speech. Dr. Sayyid al-Qazwini.
Assalamu alaikum jami'an wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. الحمد لله رب العالمين الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله والصلاة والسلام على أنبياء الله جميعا وعلى سيدهم وخاتمهم حبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وعلى أخيه وابن عمه علي أمير المؤمنين وقائد الغر المحجلين وعلى آل بيت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وعليهم وسلم. قال تعالى في كتابه الكريم: أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم، بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم: ومن الناس من يشري نفسه ابتغاء مرضات الله والله رؤوف بالعباد. And among mankind is the one who sells his soul, seeking God's good pleasure. And verily God is kind unto his servants. Mu'mineen, friends, brothers and sisters at Al-Fatima Islamic Center in Albany, New York. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We're going to spend the next few nights with you speaking and discussing and sharing with you the life, the legacy, the contribution of a great man, the greatest man on earth after Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And that is Mawlana Amir al-Mu'mineen, Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. And tonight I'd like to speak about a very distinct quality of this man. And that is the quality of selflessness and sacrifice. In this life, my friends, the sacrifices are different. There are different levels of sacrifice in this life. There is someone who sacrifices with his money, with his wealth. He gives money generously. There is another one who sacrifices with his time, with his energy. Another person sacrifices with his expertise, his knowledge, his wisdom, his experience in this life. Another person sacrifices with his comfort, with his rest. He keeps serving. He doesn't even get any rest. Another person sacrifices with his honor. He has honor, and he uses the honor to help people out. But then there is the ultimate sacrifice in this life. And that is when a person gives his entire being, gives his soul, gives his blood, gives his life. As God said in Surah Al-Baqarah, chapter 2, verse 207. This is one of the verses that praises and celebrates Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. God says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ, and among mankind, مَنْ يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ, who sells his soul, seeking God's satisfaction, seeking God's pleasure. مَنْ يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ, who sells his soul. He sells his soul to God, seeking God's satisfaction and a pleasure. And that is Imam Ali when he slept the night of the Hijrah, the night the Prophet, peace be upon him, was migrating and leaving, and in fact fleeing Mecca to Medina. Quraysh conspired to murder the Prophet, to put an end to his life on that night. And the Prophet informed Imam Ali that Quraysh is plotting to murder me. Would you be ready to stay in my bed? Imam Ali said, of course, Ya Rasulullah, you don't have to ask me, you order me. I'm your servant. I'm your bodyguard. I'm your defender. Despite the danger, despite the risk that involved, Imam Ali was ready to stay in the bed of the Prophet, to sleep that night so the Prophet can leave his house in Mecca and go to Medina. At dawn, when the tribes of Quraysh attacked the house of the Prophet, intending to murder him in his bed, they saw a lion jumps off the bed. And that lion is Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salatu wassalam. And God celebrates this event. in the Holy Quran, in Surah Al-Baqarah, verse 207, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ وَاللَّهُ رَؤُوفٌ بِالْعِبَادِ. That is the best accolade, the best gift one can get. A verse in the Quran. And the Quran is eternal, my friends. Quran does not expire. It's not a book that you read it today and tomorrow it would expire. Quran is an eternal book, and God celebrates this heroic sacrifice of Imam Ali alayhi salam. Why? Because Imam Ali was sincere. Imam Ali enjoyed sincerity, earnestness, ikhlas. His work, his sacrifice, what was not intended for the sake of fame, to be a celebrity. It wasn't for that. He was true in his sacrifice. He was true. He had ikhlas. He did it for the sake of God. And God says this, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ. If you reflect on this verse, يَشْرِي نَفْسَهُ ابْتِغَاءَ مَرْضَاتِ اللَّهِ. He did it only for the sake of God, for nothing else. Nothing else except the sake of God, except the pleasure of God, except obedience to God. ابتغاء مرضات الله والله رؤوف. And God is kind to his servants. Of course, God is kind to Imam Ali alayhi salam. One of the reasons we celebrate Imam Ali for 5 nights, from tonight until Tuesday night, inshallah, is because of Imam Ali is an ocean of knowledge, of wisdom, of piety, of sacrifice, of faith, dedication, of loyalty. I don't know where to begin when I speak about Imam Ali. I really don't know where to begin. I go crazy when I speak about Imam Ali. Whatever I say about him is not enough. Is not enough. Philosophers, scholars, they were bewildered. They got lost when they tried to speak about Amir al-Mu'mineen Ali ibn Abi Talib. But let's take it one at a time. So tonight it's about his sacrifice, which has been recorded in the Quran. We learn from Imam Ali alayhi salam to resist and fight self-centeredness, egoism. My friends, my sisters, my brothers who are listening to me and watching me tonight, one of the most dangers that surrounds us as a human being, more dangerous than COVID-19, is the disease of self-centeredness, selfishness, egoism. When we start loving and admiring ourselves, the moment you begin just to admire yourself, admire everything you do, everything you say, and you love people to praise you always, to speak highly about you, to compliment you, then you have to know that you are in trouble. You are in trouble. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salatu wassalam says, إِيَّاكَ وَالْإِعْجَابِ بِنَفْسِكَ وَحُبِّ الْإِطْرَاءِ. He says in Nahj al-Balagha, be careful not to fall in the trap of admiring yourself always admiring yourself. Whatever you do, whether you do right or wrong, you still admire yourself. You see yourself the best person in the community, the best person God created. You are the most talented. You are the most genius. You are the most intelligent. This is a disease. This is in fact a psychological disease, psychological and mental defect. Yes, sometimes you do something good, say thank you to yourself. It's okay to have self-confidence. It's okay to have self-worth. It's okay to have self-esteem. It's okay to have self-respect. But I'm speaking about something else, about always being obsessed with yourself, always admiring yourself, always, as Amir al-Mu'mineen says, وَحُبُّ الْإِطْرَاءِ, always you like people to praise you, to speak good about you, regardless of what you do, regardless of what you do. Even if you do wrong, you want them to praise you. This is dangerous, my friends. This is not a clean soul. This is not a pure soul. Because that would lead ultimately into what? Into arrogance, into vanity. You're going to see yourself always the best person. You are always right and others are wrong. And therefore you don't pay attention to your faults, to your mistakes, to your errors, to your weaknesses. You don't pay attention to them. That is very dangerous. Imam Ali alayhi salam says, Hubbun nafs, to love yourself at all costs is very dangerous. Very dangerous. This is why he says, he says, be careful how you deal with your own self, let alone with others. Even when you deal with yourself, be very careful not to be obsessed with the self. Not to believe that you are the greatest person God created you and everything you do, everything you say is always right and others are wrong. In one of his short sermons, or short wisdoms, I would say, short wisdoms, in Nahj al-Balagha, he says, أقبل على نفسك بالإدبار عنها. Try to serve yourself through what? Through not listening to yourself. Imam Ali alayhi salam says something amazing. Serve yourself, take care of yourself through not listening, not obeying yourself. Not obeying, because once you obey yourself and obey your desire, then you get yourself in a trouble. That would be a disaster. Don't obey yourself. Don't listen to yourself. This is how you serve it. This is how you nurture it. This is tarbiyah. This is nurturance. This is how you purify it. This is the month of spiritual purification, my friends. Ramadan is the month of spiritual purification. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ means to purify, to cleanse yourself spiritually and morally. The greatest jihad, according to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, al-jihad al-a'zam, al-jihad al-akbar. You all know this hadith. You know the story behind it. One day, a military expedition, a Muslim military expedition that was dispatched to fight, they came back from fighting. The Prophet was standing there. He was receiving them. He was welcoming them. He said to them, لَقَدْ عُدْتُم مِّنَ الْجِهَادِ الْأَصْغَرِ وَبَقِيَ عَلَيْكُمُ الْجِهَادُ الْأَكْبَرِ. Now you have just came back from the minor jihad. And then yet you have the bigger jihad ahead of you. Some of them said, some of the companions, they were shocked. They said, Ya Rasulullah, our jihadun fawqa hada? Do you mean that there is a bigger jihad than this? We just came back from this military expedition. from this military combat. We were in the field. We are wounded. Look at the blood. The Prophet said, yes, this is the minor jihad. The greater jihad, the bigger jihad is jihadun nafs. When you have bigger self-control over your desires. When your soul begins whispering to you, saying that, oh, you are the best person. Be arrogant here. Reject this person here. Repel that one here. Crash this one here. Silence that one there. Don't listen to anyone. You are the best. You are the immaculate. You are the perfect. This is how the soul tells us, always. These are the whispering of the soul. But if you have self-control, you say to yourself, no, you are wrong. You are wrong. I'm not the best person. I hope to be. I aspire to be the best person. I aspire to be the best person, but I'm not yet. I'm not there. I have to work harder and harder and harder. One day, Musa alayhi salam was speaking to God on Mount Tur in the Sinai desert. وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. He is the interlocutor of God. Kalim. Musa Kalimullah. He speaks with God. So God said to him, Moses, next time when you come here, bring someone that you think you are better than him. Musa said, okay. So he went back home. When the time came for the next meeting, Musa was searching for someone in the community that he think he is better than him. So he started to think about A, B, C, D, E, F, many people in the community. But then he would say, maybe he's better than me. Who knows? Maybe he does something in a private that I don't see him. I have no knowledge about him. Maybe he's more dedicated. Maybe he's more sincere. Maybe he's more pious. Maybe he's more serving. I don't know. How can I guarantee that A, B, C, D, those people are better than me? I'm better than them. I can't. Maybe they are better than me. So he really could not find any human being where he can say with full confidence that he is better than him. So he decided to go back alone to speak to God and go back with no one. On the way to the mountain, he met a dog, an animal. He said, okay, now I know that I am definitely better than this dog. I am a universal messenger of God. I speak to God. وَكَلَّمَ اللَّهُ مُوسَى تَكْلِيمًا. I enjoy this privilege of speaking to God. So definitely I'm better than this animal. So he put the leash around the dog and he was pulling him with him. Halfway through, he said, wait a minute. I'm a human being and this is an animal. Animal has no responsibility in this life. Animal have not been endowed with any responsibility from God. Animal do not know about halal or haram. Animal do not commit a sin. Animal are not going to be held accountable before God tomorrow. But I'm a human being. I commit a sin. I know what is halal and what is haram. And despite knowing what is haram, sometimes I do commit the haram. Not Musa himself. He's speaking about him as a human being. So who guarantees that I am better than this dog? Maybe this dog has no sin. He has done no sin in his life. Because he's not responsible. God is not going to hold him accountable for anything. But I'm a human being. sometimes I commit a sin. So he freed the dog. He released him. He released him. He went to the mountain. God said to him, Moses, why you are alone? Didn't I ask you to bring someone with you? He said, yes, God, but I searched. And everyone that I saw, I thought maybe he's better than me. Who guarantees that I'm better? Yes, I'm a prophet of you. I'm a universal prophet, Ulil Azm, Anbiya'u Ulil Azm. But I'm not sure that if I am better than others, because I don't know them very well. Maybe they do things at home in a private that I'm unaware of. So I cannot judge them. I can't judge anyone. So God said to him, what about the dog then? Musa said, my Lord, yes, in the beginning, I thought I am better than that animal. But then I was thinking to myself, I was reflecting that this animal is sinless. He doesn't commit a sin. He doesn't have any responsibility in this life. He's not going to face a day of judgment. He's an animal. The animal, he only wants to eat and drink and enjoy his time. I'm a human being. I sometimes have emotions. Through my relationships with people, I might hurt someone. I might say something bad about someone. I might commit backbiting. So I decided not to bring him, to be on the safe side. To be on the safe side, I decided not to bring even that dog. Allah said to him. Allah said to him, Musa, this is why I love you. You know why I have chosen you to be my messenger? Because of this equality of a humility. You are a humble person. I love this equality. This is why I chose you to be my messenger. Because I don't like the arrogance. Of course, my friends, definitely Musa is better than all the animals and all the humans too. Definitely he was the best in his community. Definitely, no doubt about it. He's ma'soom, he's infallible, he's a great messenger of God. But look at how he thinks about himself. He's not arrogant. He's not arrogant. This is how we should perceive ourselves. Inside me, I should not look at myself being above others. In the dua, I say, oh God, you look at me with good look. You praise me. You lift me up. But inside me, don't become arrogant. Don't allow me to become arrogant. Inside me, when I look at others, I should have this feeling that others are better than me because I don't know them really. I know myself, but I don't know others. Maybe they do something good in a private that I am unaware of, which makes them better than me. This is the tarbiyah, my friends. This is the tradition, the customs, the character of the Anbiya and the Imams. So the Prophet said to them, yes, you went to the battlefield, you were fighting, you almost lost your souls. But that is still the minor jihad. The bigger jihad is when you fight against your ego, your arrogance, your vanity. This is the real jihad. The day you are able to control yourself, to cleanse your heart from jealousy, from arrogance, from hate, from racing always with others, competing with others. from dishonesty, from riya. Riya is so dangerous. Ostentation, showing off. Most of the people are afflicted by this disease, the disease of riya. Whereas Imam Ali alayhi salam did not show off at all. He didn't need to. He did not need to. His inside and his outside were the same. My friends, the day we can reach that stage, definitely I am not in that, not on that course. But inshallah, you, the mu'mineen among you, especially the young generation among you, who live here in America, but they are good followers of Amir al-Mu'minin. The day you can have your inside and outside the same. It's not different. Not double-faced. You have only one face. The inside and the outside are the same. That day is a great day of success for you. Then this means you have refined yourself. You have gone long way in refining and priorifying yourself. When the inside and the outside are the same. You don't behave in a privately you behave in a way, and publicly you behave in a different way. Imam Ali alayhi salam is the model, the embodiment of ikhlas, earnestness, ikhlas. إِنَّمَا يَتَقَبَّلُ اللَّهُ مِنَ الْمُتَّقِينَ. Two brothers in this book, in the Holy Quran, two brothers offered a charity. Two brothers. One of them, his charity was accepted. The other was rejected. And you all know the story of those two. Qabil and Habil, Cain and Abel. Cain gave an offering, God rejected his offering. His sibling Habil gave another offering, God accepted it. فَتُقُبِّلَ مِنْ أَحَدِهِمَا وَلَمْ يُتَقَبَّلْ مِنَ الْآخَرِ. One of the offering was accepted, which is the offering of Habil, whereas the second one, لَمْ يُتَقَبَّل, was rejected. So Qabil was angry at his brother. He said, how come God accepts your offering, but he rejects mine? The answer was very short. We have to reflect on this short sentence. We have to read it and memorize it and rehearse it every day and night. قال, the answer was, قال, إنما يتقبل الله من المتقين. God only accepts the work of the pious. Pious here in this context means the sincere people, people who have ikhlas. People who work with ikhlas. They don't work for name. They don't work for recognition. They don't work for money. They don't work to be a celebrity. They don't even work for people to say thank you to them. They don't care. Whether people said thank you or they didn't say thank you, they work. They give. They look up to God, not to people. Look up to God always. Sometimes people may praise you, but the praise is nonsense, worth nothing. As I said yesterday in one of my speeches, it's adulation. Sometimes it's bootlicking. So what if people praise you? And sometimes you do something good and people do not praise you. Still, don't be upset. Neither be jubilant when they praise you, nor be upset when they don't praise you. Expect always the praise and the reward from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is the meaning of ikhlas. Imam Ali alayhi salam in the battlefield of Khandaq, a hero came, an Arab hero, a polytheist, was threatening and intimidating and cursing the Muslims. And the Prophet said to his community, who can stand for this man? وَأَنَا أَضْمَنْ لَهُ عَلَى اللَّهِ الْجَنَّةِ. I guarantee, I take the word of God that I guarantee paradise for him if he gets killed. Who? Nobody answered. The Prophet three times repeat the same sentence. Who can stand for Amr ibn al-Wid and defend Medina and the people of Medina from his evil? Nobody was answering the Prophet. And each time, a young man by the name of Ali ibn Abi Talib was saying, Ya Rasulullah, allow me, give me permission, I'll go for it. The Prophet would say, wait, Ali, wait, let's see what others say. Others were silent. They were silent. And the third time, the Prophet said to Imam Ali, Ubruz barakallahu feek. You go. Yes, Ali, you are the man. The Prophet prayed for him. The Prophet said, لَقَدْ بَرَزَ الْإِيمَانُ كُلُّهُ إِلَى الشِّرْكِ كُلِّهِ. Today, the entire Iman, the entire faith, the entire religion is confronting the entire disbelief and polytheism. بَرَزَ الْإِيمَانُ كُلُّهُ إِلَى الشِّرْكِ كُلِّهِ. Imam Ali represents the entire faith, the entire message of the Prophet through his ikhlas and his sincerity. So within few minutes, Imam Ali cuts him into two pieces. Before beheading him, severing his head, and that was a tradition in the battlefields. Don't tell me where are human rights and the Charter of the United Nations. Please don't tell me about that. I'm speaking about 1400 years ago, someone, an enemy combatant being killed in the battlefield, if he's a leader, if he's a commander, the tradition was to sever his head as a proof of his murder. So Imam Ali came and he tried to sever his head. He spits in Imam Ali's face. Imam Ali backs up and then he goes, he makes a circle, and then he comes back and he severs his head. He brings his head. The Muslims are chanting, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. The Prophet asked him, Ya Ali, why didn't you sever his head and finished him up in the first round? Why did you have to take a circle and come back again? Imam Ali said, Ya Rasulullah, he spat in my face. Had I been killing him that time, that moment, it would have been as a revenge, act of revenge for me. I didn't want revenge. I wanted to murder him for the sake of God. Imam Ali says, I want to murder him for the sake of God, not for myself. Not because I am angry. Not because he insulted me. I don't believe in revenge. If someone insults me, I would not do anything against him. I will forgive him. But I wanted to murder him because you asked me and God is asking me. I wanted my work to be only for the sake of God. Ikhlas, this is ikhlas, my friends. Ikhlas. So in the society, when someone does something bad to you, try to forgive. But if someone does something bad to religion, religion is at stake. Someone asked me when bin Laden was murdered, assassinated, a non-Muslim asked me, he said, don't you believe in forgiveness? Why then bin Laden was murdered? I said to him, we believe in forgiveness if someone does something against me privately. I can forgive him. But when someone destroys Islam and kills innocent people and terrorizes the people, then this is not personal anymore. Then here religion is at stake. This is not revenge anymore. This is retribution. It's not revenge. Yes, if he does something personally against you, you may forgive. And God says, it's better to forgive. وَإِن تَعْفُوا أَقْرَبُ لِلتَّقْوَى. If you forgive, it is nearer and closer to piety and righteousness. But if someone does something to your country, to your society, to your people, this is not personal anymore. Then here, he has to face retribution and punishment. We learn ikhlas from Amir al-Mu'minin. Let me share with you a story of one of our ulama. You all know the name of the book, Mafatih al-Jinan. I think even in the Indian subcontinent culture, they know this book. Very famous book, Mafatih al-Jinan. Book of dua. You're going to use it these nights for the nights of Ramadan, the nights of Qadr. The author of this book is a simple man, simple scholar called Sheikh Abbas al-Qumi from the city of Qum. He's buried in Najaf in the shrine of Imam Ali alayhi salam. He has written many books. One of them is Manazil al-Akhirah. Manazil al-Akhirah is the stages of the Akhirat, what we're going to see after death. When we die, he speaks about life after death. Manazil, the stages of the hereafter. Beautiful book. It has been translated to many languages. I have it here, in fact, here on my shelf. When he wrote his book, he did not put his name on his book. Despite what we do, when we write a book, we have to put our name, the title, Maulana, Allama, Sayyiduna, Shaykhuna, Ayatullah, Hujjatul Islam, Professor, Doctor, blah, 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 blah. This is the tradition, alhamdulillah. Have you seen any lecturer who's not Maulana, who's not Allama, who's not Ayatullah? Can you dare not to put the title for them? Sheikh Abbas al-Qumi did not put any title. He didn't even put his name. He produced a brilliant book, but without putting a name. So in the local mosque in his city, his father, the father of Sheikh Abbas, used to go to do the prayers, jama'ah, congregational prayers in the local mosque. The imam of that mosque, between the two prayers of Dhuhr and Asr, will take the book of Sheikh Abbas al-Qummi, Manazil al-Akhirah, the book that I mentioned, and he will recite a couple of stories of hadith from that book. And among the audience who's sitting and listening is the father of Sheikh Abbas. But the father of Sheikh Abbas does not know that this book is the book of his son. He didn't tell even his father. Even his family member did not know. Only the publisher of the book knew that this is his work. He kept it secret because he's not looking for a name. He's not looking for recognition. So the father of Sheikh Abbas comes home every day and he tells his son, son, there is a brilliant book written by a brilliant person. I wish you, my son, you were able to write such a book. I wish. My dream is for you, my son, my dear son, Sheikh Abbas, is to be able to write a similar book like the book that our imam in the mosque is reading for us from. Sheikh Abbas said to him, what book is that? What's the title? He said, the title is Manazil al-Akhirah, the stages of Akhirah. But we don't know who the author is. Sheikh Abbas never told his father. Father, it is me. You have to be proud of your son. He never told. Even he didn't say this to his father. He kept it secret. My friends, this requires a lot of taqwa, a lot of self-control. This is not easy. Because shaitan comes to us always, oh, you have to bring up your name. If you donate something, let them mention your name. If you give $50 to your mosque, let them mention your name. If you build here, if you do here, if you work here, if you donate here. This is the shaitan. Now it is good. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. It's good that we thank people, we recognize them. This is very good. Why? Because we need to encourage others. من لم يشكر المخلوق لم يشكر الخالق. If you don't thank the creatures, you are not thanking God. So it's good. But you should not have that desire inside you to be mentioned always. You shouldn't have. If people mention it, it's okay. They are doing it. But you should not fight over it. You should not dream always over it. You should not be obsessed with it. If they mentioned you, maybe it's okay. It's okay. If they didn't, don't get angry. Don't get upset. Because you did it for the sake of God. إنما يتقبل الله من المتقين. Imam Ali is the example of this. This is why he used to go Kufa, in the city of Kufa, when he was the caliph, the commander, every night, every single night. At midnight, he will carry the bag of food and he himself distribute that food himself. Though he was the Khalifa, the commander, and he had many people working for him. And he could have easily asked for help. Some people, even his sons, Hassan and Hussein, he would not ask them for help. He will go himself. And people did not recognize him. People did not know who this man is until he died. When he died, on the night when he was stricken by the sword, on the eve of the 19th, he stopped going because he was bedridden. The people of Kufa realized, oh, this man who has been bringing us for so many years food must be Ali ibn Abi Talib, because tonight he did not show up. He didn't show up tonight. They realized that this is Ali ibn Abi Talib. He worked for the sake of God because he wanted the reward from God. This is a lesson that we all learn from Amir al-Mu'mineen. Sacrifice and ikhlas, earnestness, sincerity, dedication for God. Let's ask Allah during these holy nights to make our a'mal, our deeds, our activities, our services, our khidmah, when you serve your community, your center, your family, your country, your religion, let's make it dedicated to Him. We await the reward only from Him. We await for the recognition only from Him. It's enough for us if God recognizes our work. It's enough for us. Believe me, it's enough. And that is the ultimate success. I wish I can continue for more minutes, but now it is almost 45 minutes. And I have to stick to the time because I respect the time. And I ask you to remember me at the time of iftar tonight, as I am going to remember the good community of Albany, New York, in my du'as. May Allah protect you all. May Allah keep us on the path of Ahlul Bayt, on the path of Amir al-Mu'mineen. Prepare yourself psychologically, spiritually, for the nights of Qadr, the nights of destiny, the nights of power, the nights of forgiveness, the nights where we really need the blessings and the forgiveness and the grace of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات تابع اللهم بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات إنك مجيب الدعوات إنك غافر الخطيئات إنك ماحي السيئات وجاعلها حسنات إنك على كل شيء قدير وعجل اللهم في فرج سيدنا ومولانا صاحب العصر والزمان وإلى أرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثواب الفاتحة مع الصلاة على محمد وآل محمد والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad. وَأَجِّلْ فَرَجَهُمْ. Thank you, Sayyid, for another excellent speech. May Allah give you ajr for this. And inshallah, we will see you tomorrow at the same time. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Mu'min and Mu'minat, with this, we conclude our program for today. Inshallah, we'll be here for our Urdu program at 9:10 p.m. Until then, Allah Hafiz and fi amanillah.